Yes. So I think one big thing, and this is actually controversial in ecash a little bit, but one thing that we really focused on, that we almost put basically all of our energy in, was stablecoins. The US dollar has the US has the US dollar, and it's just it has such a strong memetics that it's like basically impossible, or like it's very hard to get people to wrap their mind around using something other than stablecoins. Of course, we used ecash, we used the blockchain, but more as rails, and the actual value that was being transferred was a stable currency. We actually minted our own stable currency for that, RAI USD. Unfortunately, it's getting now harder and harder regulation wise, but there's also a solution to that. So yeah, and to get to the supplier thing, what we also built, but unfortunately didn't roll out, was a bill pay tool where you can basically off-ramp your crypto by making someone else pay bills for you. The problem there, unfortunately, was, well, so the idea is basically, say you're a restaurant and you get like, I don't know, 1,000 crypto, like 1,000 RAI USD. And then you're like, hey, what do I do with that? Well, you could give it to your customers, but then not your customers, you could give it to your employees, but then what do they do with that? But then what we thought is, why don't we create like a small little loop? So we pay at the restaurant with crypto, and then we get the crypto back by paying the bills for the restaurant, right? So we, and in America, everything is done with credit cards. So we actually make money from that by using a cashback credit card, right? And this way, we wanted to, create a small little circular economy. The downside there is that actually turned out to be money servers business activity, because we were transferring money from one person to another. And technically that is 5 years in jail. So we kind of were like, that was a little too high of a price to pay for that. So yeah, one of the big things we had to really engineer around is that, okay, how do we do this with like either without being money service business activity, or by complying with like the money service business laws. We were like a little concerned that the UX will be too complicated to like do all the KYC and everything. But maybe in the future we will pick that up again. But yeah, I think that would actually create a small little economy. It's not directly solving a problem, but the restaurants were always very like excited about crypto payments. So I think that in and of itself already is like a little bit of solving a problem, just like having this like novel kind of thing also, like a new kind of technology that nobody else is using. Yeah, and we also thought about some like fun things, like a raffle back, which is when you make a payment, like a small percentage of that goes into a raffle, and then at the end of the month or something, one person gets all the money in the raffle, and that way you kind of like incentivize people to use crypto. Yeah, I think that would, I mean, one thing we struggled with was just that we had too many ideas and we wanted to execute on all of them. And I think the correct way to do it would be to like just create a proper startup which raises maybe not venture capital, but just capital in general, and then just hires like a bunch of people and has like a solid plan. And yeah, and we, and I mean, in our defense, we were like kind of exploring. We were like, okay, where do we go? It was almost more like a research project, and I think we learned a ton. So I'm like happy to share all of those ideas here. Also, other ideas we had were like, gaming, but gaming in the meaning of like betting, sports betting, right? So you can like cockfighting actually was quite big in that area. So that would be one thing where, and also the Philippines community was quite big there. So that'd be something where you can do that thing. And also if you can tie into the Philippines economy, or also cockfighting is quite big, you can actually solve two problems that are like kind of interlocked, which is sports betting. I mean, I don't know if you can call cockfighting sports betting, but whatever. Like, it's banned in the US for a reason. It's very, very gross, but you know, but like if people like it, whatever, that thing. And then tie it into remittance, right? Because people need to transfer their money back to their families in the Philippines. Because the majority, not the majority, the largest group of people in Saipan were actually Philippines origin and on a visa there. So that I think would actually solve a problem. But again, it was like, you can see we had like this whole buffet of like problems that we could fix, and it was like, okay, which one is actually the biggest one? And then the one that is currently being solved, and I think like that was like the end of the learning process. Like, this is the problem that is the biggest one, is cannabis sales. So in Saipan, cannabis is totally legal, but it is federally illegal. So actually there's some federal land on Saipan, and people are like told to not smoke cannabis on there because it's illegal. But if you just not on federal land, it's fine, right? So America is a little complicated there. But if you want to buy cannabis in Saipan, you used to only be able to do that through cash. But you know, America isn't very cash heavy. Most people like to use credit cards and so forth. So well, I didn't do that, but you know, someone else in Saipan built that. And basically, the idea is you mint your own stablecoin, and for that you pay someone to give you a signature such that you can mint the stablecoin. That is not MSB. It's not MSB activity. And then you send the tokens over to the merchant, and then the merchant later can either use them in their own economy, or they can redeem them to back to US dollars.